Our passage has been read responsibly already at the beginning of service, Psalm 9. And if you are able, I would ask you please rise as we read this once again. I'll just read it myself. Psalm 9, verses 9 through 20. It reads as follows. The Lord is a stronghold for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. And those who know your name put their trust in you. For you, O Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you. Sing praises to the Lord, who dwells in Zion. Declare his deeds among the peoples. For he who avenges blood is mindful of them. He does not forget the cry of the afflicted. Be gracious to me, O Lord. See what I suffer from those who hate me. You are the one who lifts me up from the gates of death, so that I may recount all your praises, and in the gates of daughter Zion, rejoice in your deliverance. The nations have sunk in the pit that they made, and the net that they hid has their own foot been caught. The Lord has made himself known. He has executed judgment. The wicked are snared in the work of their own hands. The wicked shall depart to Sheol, all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, nor the hope of the poor perish forever. Rise up, O Lord, do not let mortals prevail. Let the nations be judged before you. Put them in fear, O Lord. Let the nations know that they are only human. The word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
Let us pray. Lord God, we thank you for this day. I am thankful that I have this opportunity to teach your people today, Lord. Lord, use me as a broken vessel, Lord, just to give something back to this community that has so greatly enriched people. Lord, I just ask that what we learn from the scriptures today, Lord, we can apply to our lives, Lord, and that we can go out and just hit the highways and byways and teach other people about you and your loving kindness towards us. We thank you for these things. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated. Well, if I had put a title on this message, if you're taking notes, and if you're really a geek about taking notes, you can always see me after service and I can show you my notes. But the title I put on this is Brothers and Sisters at the Border, No More Humiliation for the Humble. Brothers and sisters at the border, no more humiliation for the humble. So this week, well, as Reverend Stephanie noted, and I'll take one. As Reverend Stephanie noted, it is my birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Amen. So, and I had these plans when we were putting together the preaching schedule. I said, yeah, I'll preach on my birthday. That's like a gift to me. I like to preach and teach, and I think that's a great thing. I even had something in mind. I'll depart from the lectionary. I'm going to teach about Herod's birthday celebration, which is this really fascinating story in the New Testament. Now, I was gearing up to do that, and then this week happened. Even last week going into this week. And I was appalled, as a biblical scholar, to hear Romans 13 so twisted for ends that it was never meant to be. And I just said, this is so unjust. This is so, it fell upon my ears. It wrenched me. And I said, well, I'm abandoning my original plan. And forget Herod's birthday. We can do that another time. I said, we need to talk. We need to sit here today as people of faith and talk about what does it mean to love our neighbor? What does it mean to reach out to people who are hurting? And so as I said, let me look back at the lectionary, and Psalm 9 just screamed out at me. That very first verse, it says, the Lord is a stronghold for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. So I just seized upon that, and I said, now this is the text, Lord. You've given it to me, and I need to roll with it. And so I went ahead and I studied this text, and I said, Lord, what are you telling us as your people? What are you telling us in these times of trouble? And we are living in troubled times, are we not? If you think about this, the psalm in the superscription to Psalm 9, it says, to the leader, according to Muslim, a Psalm of David. So some later editors, the superscriptions were added much later, but some editor had looked over David's life and said, yeah, this is fitting. Think about it. David was on the run. He was on the run from Saul originally, and then later on in his life, he was on the run from his own son. So, David had a lot of trouble that he was going through. And he had a promise. While Saul was chasing him, he had a promise that he would one day be king. And then he also had a promise that his throne would last forever, that there would always be somebody on the throne of David. Yet he was living in troubled times. Today, our Latin American sisters and brothers, they're seeking shelter from the storm. There's a long-form article in the New Yorker earlier this year. It's called "When Deportation is a Death Sentence." When deportation is a death sentence. There are people who have come to this country looking for refuge, looking for a protection, looking indeed for salvation, and they're being turned away. They're being denied due process. And they're being denied an opportunity to be in a safe harbor. There's a story from the New Yorker article. There's a story of someone. Her name is Laura, and the last name is S. It's just abbreviated because they're still, her family's still under threat. But she was a mother of 3, and she was at a traffic stop. She was stopped in traffic, or pulled over in traffic in 2009. And the small town police officer in this town in Texas said, oh, well, you were moving between the lanes and so forth, so I pulled you over. And then he said, well, do you have your papers? Do you have paperwork? Well, no, I don't have anything with me. And he said, oh, well, I'm going to call Border Patrol, which is not a common thing, at least at that point. And so then she's a mother of 3. She has young children at home. What's going to become of her? And so she's like, if I get returned to Mexico, I have an ex-husband there who said he'd kill me if I returned. And so she did everything she could to beg them to allow her to stay. She said, you just call my mother. She'll bring you some paperwork to show that I have a order protection against this person. Please, can you call? Well, within hours, she was returned to Mexico. And she died. She was found in a car, her body burned, and so someone had known that she came back, and they took her out. And she had told the Border Patrol, she said, when I am found dead, it will be on your conscience. When I am found dead, it will be on your conscience. She knew she was going to die. And yet, as a country of abundance, we should be, give us your poor, you're tired. Well, does it matter that they come from over an ocean or from over a border? Our southern border, especially. We need to have open arms. We need to bring people in for refuge and give them asylum and help them through their difficulties. And yet it seems that another agenda is afoot in this country. So we're living in troubled times. And people need, in troubled times, need a stronghold. The scripture in verse 9, the Lord is a stronghold for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. Does anybody know what a stronghold is? What do you think when I say the word stronghold? Sorry? Yeah, okay. And they think about, you think of a castle, you think of, I give you, even at work, I used to work in this building called 10 South Canal. And if you ever go downtown, this is a building that has 27 stories of concrete, and then 10 stories of regular glass windows. This is a telephone office. It was built during the Cold War. It was built in 1970. And they fortified that thing. You had 10-foot thick concrete walls because it was built to survive a blast. And I ever said, if somebody's going to drop a nuclear bomb on downtown Chicago, that's the building I want to be in. And even my own office, in Lombard, is another telephone switching office. And to get to me, now I sometimes work there at night, though sometimes I work at home. But when I'm working there at night, to get to me, you have to get through 2 doors to get to me. So I feel pretty safe there. It's a stronghold. I could defend it if I had to. I hope I don't have to. But even here at Galewood, we have an alarm on our building. So when sometimes I'm working here by myself, I set the alarm. There's a little option, set it to stay, so that this becomes my own little stronghold. And I don't know if our locks are, hope nobody's hearing this online and say, yeah, let's bust from Galewood. Well, I have the alarm on, just know that. Even just, a place of security, a place of shelter from the storms of life. And the church, bringing the literal into the figurative, this church is a stronghold, a place of shelter, a safe space. Can we be that for people who are hurting? That's my challenge to you. We have a building, and we're blessed with the building. But the thing is, can we open this building up to others? Can we open up to people who have no buildings, who have nothing at all? I would say that there may be a time coming soon in our church history where we may need to put in, as we do our renovations, showers. Maybe, hey, this needs to be some bunk beds in here to put people up for the night, or something to accommodate people who are hurting. And we have a scriptural mandate that if we look in the New Testament, so we're flipping from the Hebrew Bible to the New Testament, and we look at what Jesus says in Matthew 25. And this is mentioned in Sunday school today. And since I have a pulpit, this is my bully pulpit. Please come to Sunday school. You're going to learn a lot. I don't want to put a guilt trip on. But in verse 34 in Matthew 35, the king will say to those at his right hand, come, you that are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when was it that we saw you a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you? And the king will answer him, truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these who remembers my family, you did it to me. Amen? Amen. So we serve, my first point, we serve a sheltering God, a God who functions as a stronghold and a shelter. Second point, though, that we serve a trustworthy God, a God who can trust. We look at verse 10 of our text. Verse 10 reads, and those who know your name put their trust in you. For you, O Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you. Yet those who know your name put their trust in you. So what does it mean to know somebody's name? There's an element of trust. I mean, that's why, if you think about it, that's why marketers are paid lots of money to market for companies, right? If I say, you're in good hands, can you name the insurance company? Or, marketing, Allstate. Everybody's saying Allstate. Marketing works, right? My mother has been an Allstate customer ever since I was a kid. So, that you're in good hands. You have a major insurance carrier. I remember when Steph and I were starting out, we were young. I was young and dumb. She was just young. That's what I'm saying. So we had insurance for our car, and it was. You might remember this place. I don't even know if they're still around. Insure One. Does anybody remember that? Yeah. Okay. They're still around. Okay. They might have been Insure 5 because we had some trouble with them. And after a while, Stephanie, with her foresight, said, "We need to get out from under these people. They ain't worth it." The final straw. Then you're gonna laugh at this. The final straw. We had a Chevy Astro, the minivan, and Stephanie, and we don't know if it was some racially tinged thing or what was going on. But we went to get our insurance cards or the policy, and they spelled Astro, and then it should be A-S-T-R-O. It said A-S-S-T-R-O. We were looking at that like, hey, right. We're like, you're supposed to punch it up on the computer, and whatever pops up, you populate it. We don't know what this lady did. But that was the last straw. We said, we're out of here. And so we found another insurance company. We've been happy ever since. But that marketing, that do you have trust that they're going to come through? And we thought, well, gee, if they're jacking us around at this point, we don't know, if we had an accident, what would they do then? So, we were concerned. And we had little kids at the time, so we were special ones. So, those who know your name put their trust in you. And if you think, too, another example would be this week I'm trying to find, which Reverend Stephanie and I are supposed to go out of town in July. We're going to be celebrating 24 years of marriage. Yes, my beautiful bride back there smiling at me. So, and we're trying to plan out, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And so we're going to help her mother out the first week of July. And then second week of July, we're on our own. But, we're trying to find, you ever plan out a vacation, you're like, okay, let's go to TripAdvisor, and let's drill down, this is the city I want to go to, this is the hotel I want to go to, and show me 4 bubbles and up in terms of how well rated is this place that people have horror stories. So, just that reputation, and sometimes there's a couple of chains that we usually like to stay with because we know if we go there, the breakfast is going to be halfway decent, the room's going to be, we think we have some trust in that chain. We've had some crazy hotel stays before. And even my auto mechanic in Elgin, they've been around for 80 years. They're known in the town to be reputable, honest people, honest to a fault. And so I said to myself, I'm going to trust them to fix my vehicles. I don't have time to fix it myself. And so this trusting in the name. So those who know your name put their trust in you. For you, O Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you. So people are seeking God in this world. People are seeking God's love. And people are seeking acceptance and loving kindness. And will we show it to them? Will we be as instruments of God? Will we show that love? Will we show that peace? Will we show that joy to others who desperately need it? In the gospel reading for today, and you didn't read it, but read it on your own when you get home. It's the sea crossing in Mark 4. And the people in the sea crossing are the disciples on this boat. And actually, I looked at my archives 3 years ago on my computer. I actually preached that text, because this is, if you're a lectionary geek like me, this is your B. And I looked 3 years ago in 2015, I preached gospel text on the Sunday appointed. And in that text, I remember the boat that they were on. It was a fishing boat in Galilee. There were over 200 of these flying the seas of Galilee. And they were 27-foot long boats. And when I was preparing for that sermon, I brought my tape measure in here. Guess how wide the sanctuary is? 27 feet. Yeah. And so I said the length of the boat is the width of the sanctuary. And so now the disciples, many of whom were hardened, experienced fishermen, the Sea of Galilee is no plaything in terms of the storms that could come on it and so forth. And now the hardened, experienced fishermen are screaming for their lives. Something's happening. I woke somebody up there. So. And so they're looking at Jesus, and Jesus, he's chill. He's on the back of the boat. He's got his head on a cushion. Everything's cool. He's even asleep. The master of the wind and the waves is asleep on the pillow in the back of the ship. And so they're screaming, Jesus, what will you do? And he gets up and he says, wind and the waves, be calm. And then that tempest that was surrounding the boat was transformed into glassy sea, peace and stillness. They were learning. This is early on in their walk with Jesus. They were learning to trust him. They were learning to understand who he was and what he was like. And they were realizing, man, if we follow this guy, he's taking good care of us. God wants to take good care of us. We are going through, I mentioned, storms of life and difficulties. And we need a shelter in the storm. And God is that shelter. And there are people out there who are thinking they're all alone and saying, I'm all alone in my faith. My parents don't understand me. I don't have a loving church home. and this is even online, and I'm like this Reddit stuff, I'm kind of getting used to it. So, but I would kind of, the pastoral person in me just kind of rise up like, I got to type something. So, I'm like, hey, just be encouraged, know that you're not by yourself. Go, I give people like, hey, here's a church finder, go find a community that loves you for who you are. And so, these are young people, often identified as LGBTQ, and they are saying, I'm by myself, and I don't have anybody who loves me. My parents don't. I came out to my parents, and they don't understand. And so, I want them to know that there are loving communities who do understand, and who do have wide open arms. And so, I hope that little bit I do online encourages them. I don't know. So, but we hope and pray for them. Anyway, people are seeking God. People want to learn to trust. Then my third point is, and my final point, is that finally we serve a listening God. Verse 12, the B part of 12, it says, He does not forget the cry of the afflicted. He does not forget the cry of the afflicted. The current crisis, kids being ripped from their parents. I went online to the UCC website. If you ever have a chance to go, ucc.org, go and check it out. They have a toolkit now in response to this crisis at the border. And they have and if you need the document, the toolkit, which is just like a multi-page document, come see me after service and I'll make sure that you get a copy of it. But the stories that are told, and they just highlighted a couple. In one instance, a 3-year-old boy was taken from his mother at the border and was inconsolable during his flight. They put the kid on a plane away from her to where? Michigan. Kids picked up at the border of Mexico and the U.S. and was taken to Michigan. I mean, I like Michigan. It's a nice, pretty place to go. But they put him with some foster family. And the foster family said that this boy refused to change his clothes or shower and clutched a drawing of his father. He has trouble being alone and constantly asks, when will he see his papa? 3 years old, taken to Michigan. Another story. This kid's 5 years old. His name is Jose. Taken from his father after they arrived at the U.S. border in El Paso. His foster mother, again, putting these kids as a foster mother, reports that the first few nights he cried himself to sleep, and recently he moans and moans as he tries to fall asleep. He keeps a stick-figure drawing of his family underneath his pillow. Kids being ripped from the arms of their parents. And on TV, you could see the images of kids being kept in cages, dehumanized. It's a tragedy. And yet we must cling to verse 12b in our text today, that God does not forget the cry of the afflicted. In the Message translation, he even speaks of the moans of the afflicted. Just thinking of that kid, Jose. And in verse 16, also, the Lord has made himself known. He has executed judgment. The needy, verse 18, shall not always be forgotten, nor the hope of the poor perish forever. In the Message, Eugene Peterson's rendering of this, he writes, from which I take my sermon title, No More Humiliation for the Humble. How often are those who are on the bottom just, and I don't have my motorcycle boots on today, but imagine if I did that. You ever hear me stomp over here on this side of the pulpit? That's me with my boots, But think about, people are just grinding people into the dust. And with no care, as we heard in our litany today, looking to profit off of people's misery. So that should be a call, a clarion call to us to stand up for those who are oppressed, for those who are afflicted, for those who are poor. God hears these cries. What can we do as a community of faith? I'm sorry this isn't a shouting sermon today, but sometimes we have moments of lament and turmoil and difficulty. And I try to lighten it up with a little humor, but it's hard. I had a hard week this week preparing for this, And I look at my own. I know we all have our own difficulties and troubles. We had the water issue here at the church, and so forth. How are we going to get through that? And what's going to happen? But there are people who are in much worse condition, and it grinds at me. That's like I have so much. I have such abundance, and there are people who have so little. Who are just hurting and crying out. And so this is a lamentable situation. This is a difficult situation. And even so, we have to somehow see that there's a lighting, some kind of glimmer of hope. After a storm passes and the sun starts to peek out, and we have to say, what can we clutch onto? Where can we find our hope? Some things we can do. We can resist unjust laws and policies. Here's some action, okay? So this week, anytime the Bible is brought up in media, I, as a biblical scholar, my ears perk up. Oh, what are they doing now? So Jeff Sessions, at a meeting of some law enforcement officials, says, and to my church friends, he says this, and to my church friends, I would, and he had a weird way of saying it, I would cite you to Romans 13, some kind of weird way he said it, but anyway, he references Romans 13 and says, look at Romans 13 essentially, and this is the justification for what we do, or what we're doing. And I heard him like, you gotta be kidding me. So, I should read a little bit of Romans 13 for you, because I know what section he was referring to. Now, for those who understand, this is Paul's letter to the Roman church. And Paul was writing to a church that was undergoing a certain level of persecution. And so he wrote this because he's saying, even though you're going through some persecution, to the extent possible, and this is going to be key, to the extent possible, obey those who are in authority. Now, there's an element there that I'm going to touch upon in a moment, but here's the verses. It writes, this is from the NRSV. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those authorities that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, whoever resists authority resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Do you wish to have no fear of the authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive its approval. For as God's servant for your good, if you do what is wrong, you should be afraid, for the authority does not bear the sword in vain. Okay, all right, Jeff Sessions. He's laying on you guys can go be the government. So you see it's right there. It's in black and white. It's in the scriptures. I quoted it. We didn't quote it, but he referenced us. He referred us to it. But this passage has been used to justify some very evil things. The chief in which is the passage was used to justify slavery in the antebellum period. And not only that, but there was a Fugitive Slave Act passed in 1850, and the national debate at the time was that if someone who was enslaved escapes to the north, the Fugitive Slave Act said, well, that person needs to be returned to the south. And there were people in the north who said, not on our watch. And they were like, you can point to Romans 13 all you want, but God's moral law supersedes any human immoral law. Amen? Amen. So there are people then who resist it. There are people, it comes down to the law and order policies and politics that are happening now, where people are saying, oh, well, you need to kowtow to this law. And even Sarah Sanders said, well, it's difficult to enforce the law. But, the thing is, if you enact an immoral law, God is over and above anything that us puny humans could come up with. Remember, at the end of our passage, it said that, remember that we are only humans. We are mere humans. We think we're all that, a bag of chips? But we ain't. So, Paul didn't give, this is something from the American Revolution, Paul didn't give kings the right to be tyrants. And in the Nazi trials in Nuremberg in the late 1940s, a common defense was, oh, well, we were only following orders. And, well, that fell on deaf ears, because they're like, you followed unlawful orders, sorry. You should have known you don't commit genocide, you don't kill people, and so forth. So there, again, now one thing I would say is that now Sessions referred us to the whole chapter of 13, and I think he was overly focused on the first 4 verses because he didn't read the rest of the chapter. He didn't read the rest of it, because the biblical text exists in certain contexts, does it not? And so there's some other things about, pay your taxes, verse 7. But when we get to verse 8, Mr. Sessions, Attorney General Sessions, who is an attorney and should know how to read text, right? Owe no one anything except to love one another. For the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. Amen. The commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and any other commandment are summed up in this word: love your neighbor as yourself. Amen. And now in the end of verse 10, love does no wrong to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. Amen. Mr. Sessions, I would advise you to consult the scriptures and keep reading past verse 4. Amen. Embrace what it means to be a neighbor. Amen. Verse 10a, love does no wrong to a neighbor. That's the whole thrust of the Hebrew Bible in the New Testament. It's loving God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and loving our neighbor as ourselves. And then, of course, the teachers of the law then wanted to drill Jesus and say, well, who is my neighbor? And then, of course, Jesus goes into the story of who? The Good Samaritan. And at the end of that story, he says, who is neighbor to the wounded traveler? And the person who was grilling Jesus couldn't even bear to say the word Samaritan and said, the one who showed mercy. Even he had to admit, that's what it's like to be a neighbor. Amen? And the Hebrew Bible, in 2 passages, we think this book, it's old, it's kind of, I gotta get some of the dust off it, and what does this mean? And it's just hard, and it is. There's a reason there's scholarship around it. I mean, we're separated by language and culture and time and so forth, but there's relevance to this text. If we look at the Hebrew Bible, there's relevance even to today's crisis, what's going on right now at the U.S.-Mexico border. Exodus 22 in the Common English Bible. Don't mistreat or oppress an immigrant, because you were once immigrants in the land of Egypt. And wait, to really kick it into high gear, Leviticus 19. Any immigrant who lives with you must be treated as if they were one of your citizens. You must love them as yourself, because you were immigrants in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. You must love them as one of your citizens. You must embrace them and say, I love you, neighbor. That's our call as God's people in this time of crisis. Amen? Amen. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to create safe spaces for everyone, whether they're documented or undocumented, whether they're black or white, whether they're gay or straight. Wherever our spheres of influence are, Galewood, here in the community, at home, at work, our workplaces, our offices, at school. Though Deborah, you graduate, so now. All right, so, but speaking of school, the other thing is we need to become educated. We need to learn about the issues and learn what's going on the ground. And be cognizant, don't have our head, I don't have a hole to put my head in, but, just be like an ostrich. I cannot hear you. You really have to, learn about what's going on, be educated. That toolkit, the UCC toolkit, if you need it, see me. I'll send you the link. I'll send you the document. Support local organizations on the ground. There's people doing great work at the Board of Texas Civil Rights Project, Al Ultra Lado, and others. Call Congress. They may say, oh, come on, call Congress. It works, though. Our voices today, now, we just said this in Sunday school. Last week, number 45 said, there's nothing I can do. You know, I can't, like, sign an executive order or anything. And then this week, sign an executive order because of the vociferousness of the people saying, we will not stand for this. Even people who like him generally said, we ain't standing for this. And so, you know, that pressure. If you call your congressperson, you know, some of those offices, they take tallies of who's for and who's against. You know, and they report this stuff to the, hey, here's what your constituents are saying, congressperson. So, call Congress. And as I conclude, I will, this week I was looking at email, and I have my Episcopal friends I visit Tuesdays when I have the opportunity. My friend is the priest there, and she always has really cool things like at her auto signature. And so what I saw in her auto signature the other day was this, a quote from Bob Goff. It reads, quote, "Give away love and grace like you're made of stuff. Give away love and grace like you're made of stuff." So I leave you with that. Be loving, be gracious, be kind. Or as a sign I saw at the march last year in January, humankind, be both. So, and with that, we close. Amen? Lord God, we thank you for this day. We thank you, Lord, for your scriptures and the truth of what you have to say to us, Lord. Lord, I just ask that we become a body of action, and we become a church that mobilizes, Lord, to help the poor, to be a reaching hand, Lord, to bring people up to, Lord, that they may see justice and peace in their lives, Lord God. Lord, we just thank you that we have an opportunity to serve you in this way, Lord. I ask you to just continue to give us encouragement in these troubled times. Lord, we don't know what to do, but cast our cares upon you as you drive us by the Holy Spirit to do these things. In Jesus' name. The doors to the church are open. If you want to join us on this mission to seek justice and peace for those who are desperate, for those who desperately need to hear about the love of God, won't you join us?